Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuroencoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Hello, everybody. So today we have my special guest, Corry Mathews. Corry is the owner and founder of Well-Formed Solutions, certified neuroencoding specialist, Neuro-Linguistic Practitioner with 20 years of service in the Combat Fire Protection Team in Alaska, a veteran as well, and super happy to have Corry on. Corry, tell us just a little bit more about yourself.
Oh, man. Well, thank you for a great intro. Thank you for everything that you're putting on here for veterans and everybody else. I really appreciate that too as well, brother. So a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington, raised in Auburn, Washington, moved up to Alaska. I was about 8 years old. Joined the military, the Air National Guard in December 6th of 96. I also did forestry from 93 to 96 too as well. Done industrial, municipal, worked on the volunteer fire departments, Central Matsu Volunteer Fire Department, Valdez Marine Terminal on the Alaska Fire Team. Done pretty much anything under the sun except for aerospace and shipboard firefighting. So life has been good. So I'm loving it, man.
You can still do that if you want, man.
Right.
Awesome.
So, yeah, so a lot of lifelong experiences.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. So what I want to just remind everybody, the QR code, the blue QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen, it is links to Empower Performance Strategies. If you're listening to the podcast on the podcast forums later on, again, empowerperformancestrategies.com. There's plenty of resources for veterans and their families. There's some books that I've written. There's Facebook groups, all that stuff. So please check that out. And stick around to the end because Mr. Corry Mathews is going to share his 3 tips to get veterans further, faster. I know, right?
Right there.
So let's go ahead and get started. So Corry, what kind of got you started down the road into your Well-Formed Solutions company and helping people?
Well, it's the reason why I joined the military, actually the firefighting, because I wanted to guarantee, the firefighter position so that, when I enlisted, I actually made sure and tested out, through, the ASVAB testing and make sure my scores were good and actually got it written on contract that I was, going to fire protection services. And because I wanted to not only, serve my country, I wanted to serve my state and also serve my community and my people, and people around me and be able to be of service and help to them. Big addict as being a medic as well. And, going through life and seeing, different areas of, the world and the country as well. And just being, just a service to, to people. And well, as you go through life, you experience things in life, right?
Absolutely.
So as I was going through things, there was things that I needed to work on myself that I was pushing off to the side. And so one day, was enough and something had to change. And so I decided to, get out of the fire department, get out of the medic and actually become a neuroencoding specialist and a NLP practitioner. Also EFT practitioner. I mean, there's just a lot of tools that, I went through to get certified so that I can dive in deeper instead of just putting the Band-Aid on, on the symptoms, actually go dive in deep, look at the, the problem, the root of the problem and help people, have a longer lifelong change in their life instead of something that's just going to be temporary.
Yeah, that's awesome. So at some point you just got leverage over yourself and said enough's enough and wanted to move forward. That's fantastic. Love that.
Oh yeah, it was most definitely a day to remember.
Don't we have those? So as far as like resilience and transformation, how has your own journey as a veteran shaped your approach to helping others, particularly veterans, navigating life's challenges? As Les Brown says, I know you introduced him not that long ago. Life be
Right.
life, and so what is on your own journey has helped you with life's challenges that way.
Having that connection, having that understanding, and even though that it's say for example, if you and I were standing shoulder to shoulder and we see a dumpster catch on fire, right? Your perception will be different than my perception, even though we've gone through the same similarities. The way that it transcends in the person, the way it's perceived is different. So having that understanding, like, hey, I understand that you may be feeling this, or you've may felt this here because of the similarities. I might not have actually gone through that exact same moment of that person. However, the cause and effect is still the same. You're not wanting to get up out of bed, or you're using drinking to self-medicate, or other drugs or anything else to self-medicate, or even adrenaline junkie, even myself, trying to find that constant adrenaline to keep going, because I felt like that had to sustain my life. So
Right,
being able to relate to the symptoms, if you will, that from the cause of XYZ, right?
right.
That's where like the root of it all is. I can't say that I experienced the same thing as they have. I have experienced the same emotions, self-doubt, self-loathing, the all the self, deterioration, beating yourself up, the what ifs, the what if I could have, I should have done this, or I should have done that, shouldn't all over ourselves.
Shitting all
And
over
just,
yourself.
yeah, don't shit all over yourself, man. It's not a pretty sight.
No,
And just even by doing that, even though you think that that's something that helps you out, it's not. It actually makes things worse by reflecting, internalizing those negative thoughts and feelings. So with my life and seeing the struggles of other people, other veterans and first responders, and the stigma of, like, we're not supposed to talk about our emotions and feelings, we're not supposed to talk about the calls, even if we do, it's like, is this more of looking at, are we being blamed for something that we did wrong, or whatever. So the whole stigma that is trying to change the whole services. And by being able to reflect back on myself when, my pile of, CPTSD and traumatic brain injuries and all this other stuff was piling up, and I had a moment, was enough, because I had an incident that happened, that, like, this is not me, this is not who I am. Making that transition and saying, okay, now look at myself and see what I've been through, and find that those emotional attachments. So by finding those emotional attachments, and by finding those key roots of, oh, I just want to lay in bed because I'm beating myself up mentally because I know I have XYZ to do. Or it's like, well, I have nothing else really important to do. I'll get up when I have this thing here. But when in your mind that you can be doing XYZ, cleaning up around the house or whatever. And by being able to see that and relating to that, and delicately, with sympathy and compassion and understanding, and being able to communicate, to get those emotions and find those emotions, and then find out, we can't go back in the past in time and change what happened.
right. Rearview
However,
mirror.
we can,
Rearview mirror, man.
yeah, yeah. So, however, we can go back in time and change how we allow it to affect us today and in our future.
Perfect.
Just by asking the good quality questions, and going back in and saying, hey, let's take a look at this, let's reframe this, let's, whatever the case is. And everybody's different. I can't really go into too much, explanations, because it's going to be different for everybody,
Absolutely. So with you, what did you do?
Well, so basically that, I had that moment of enough was enough, after having a public incident with a PTSD episode with my girlfriend and her kids. And after giving everybody the number one salute at a theater pub here in Anchorage, Alaska, and I was don't know what it was that triggered me or whatever else, but I whatever was said to me, I don't even remember what was said to me. And after I said what I said, there, I guarantee you, 100% of the people in that theater heard me, and I was upstairs, and I guarantee you that 100% of the people heard me in that whole entire building. And I'm pretty sure that 98% of that 100%, didn't even know it was human possible to hear what they heard coming from a person telling another person. And after I was walking out, giving everybody the number one salute, and inside my head, I was telling myself, get the F out, get the F out, get the F out of here. Just get outside, get outside, get outside. Just, I was, my subconscious was like literally like pushing me out, like get your butt outside.
Right.
And other colorful language, right? And so after that, after I got outside, I took a couple of deep breaths. I called my dad, God rest his soul, and said, hey, this is what happened. This is where I need to go home. I need a ride. This is the route I'm taking. Don't roll up behind me. Meet me at one of my turns or, something. And he said, I'll meet you here. I was like, all right. Got in the car, brought me home. I was also going to the TBI clinic on base at school, at the time it's called J-Bear. And, it was a Sunday, closed. So I got the emergency line, talked to a guy, and he said, I'll see you tomorrow at 6:00 in the morning, and we're the rest of the physicians coming at 7. The place don't open up until 8. So we're going to try something new, something different. Well, he did. It was called battlefield acupuncture. And that was kind of the gateway of opening up my way of seeing things, right? And being able to calm down. And after that, I was introduced to NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And actually, it took a couple of times because to get certified, you actually have to work on somebody that you don't know. So I was asked to be a volunteer because somebody didn't show up the first time. And the second time, my girlfriend was actually going through the NLP course, and she asked me to facilitate. And so after that, that second time, there was some courses that was going on at the facility that was putting on the NLP courses. And there was a training course, and it was got to learn how to anchor, emotions and feelings and stuff like that. Right. And which is really cool because you can be able to take that, take a physical memory of a positive memory and place it on your body somewhere and recall it. It's really cool and amazing technique to use. And it gets people out of, unresourceful thoughts.
Absolutely.
And so I had another PTSD episode in that class, the second day of the last class. After learning all the anchors, I asked him a question, and he answered the question, but then I felt my body start getting hotter, and it felt like something with really sharp claws was starting to climb in through the inside of my body from my feet and clawing on my skin from the inside out, trying to get out. And, this dark beast or whatever. And I was like, hey, she's like, my girlfriend's like, what's wrong? I was like, it's like he answered my question, but he didn't answer my question. But I have a lot of stuff going on. I'm getting hot and all this other stuff going on. And then he turned to me and said, I'm sure you did everything you could at that moment. And I was like, boom, I was gone. I went from there to my biggest trauma. And, and he came up and he was like, hey, it's time for a break. And I was like, hey, got your anchors? I'm like, yeah, I got my anchors. All right, fire them off. And I was like, okay. Well, each time I was going deeper and deeper and deeper into my, PTSD. Well, the facilitator, he came up and was like, whoa, he's a veteran. We have to change the wording. And so he used NLP to bring me out of a really deep rooted, absolutely, PTSD episode. The room got brighter, that my posture got better. My body started getting like I felt that flush, just like I did with the battlefield acupuncture. So I started putting 2 to 2 together, and I was like, hey, that was cool. I want to learn that not only for myself, to work on myself, like the whole thing we hear about physician heal ourselves. Oh, yeah. Not only that, also to help other people and to get them unstuck, to get them either unstuck with, the whole hesitation, procrastination, self-doubt, self-loathing, and many others, right? Also to get.
Are you going to go through all of them for a second?
Oh, I mean, I can if you want me to. I know I can. I mean, if we're going to do a challenge of the, of the toxic 10, let's go, baby. Let's do it. Right. So, being able to, and get through the TBIs, to heal from TBIs, and to be able to heal from CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorders, which stems from early childhood to compounding through the years as more crescendos, more the shoulds, the piles of turds that get piled up right through life. But you're able to heal from this stuff. The body heals itself, and that's what's been really interesting in the past few years, several years actually, where PTSD, or traumatic experience anyways, is on the submolecular level, where the receptors in the brain get so amped up, and stressed, they actually start to crack and break apart. So the signals get misaligned and everything else. So it's actually an injury and not a disorder. That's a whole different topic. We're
Right.
not gonna go on that there. We have to bring up a lot of resources and stuff like that. However, we all know that our body heals ourselves. I mean, we all have had, a cut, a scrape, or a bruise or something, right? Or we've seen somebody that's had that, and healed from it. We can also heal from our traumas. We can also heal from the
Absolutely.
TBIs, and, everything. We may not be the person that we were before. However, we can be a better version of our
Absolutely.
older selves if we apply for it, if the person wants that. And that's one of the greatest things, is that change happens from within. A person can want it, like, oh, I'm coming in because my wife says I have an anger problem. Yeah, I see I got anger issues, and I think it'd be good. It's only going to stick for a very short period of time, and it's not going to last. That person has to want that change. That person's
Absolutely.
have had, been in that position where enough is enough. I want this for myself. Because we all know that if we're having a bad day, we stub our toe in the morning, all of a sudden we're starting to get late, we're dropping stuff, and then people don't want to be around us, and then people's tonalities are different towards us. Well, the same thing applies when we're happy. When everything goes well, we're making our bed, we're getting on things on time, people are smiling, people want to converse and be close to us. So that by changing and reframing what's going on in your lives, yes, for the positive, of course, because we want, the positive things and aspects in our life. We're also not saying that we're going to eliminate and forget, the past, or anger, the things that has once served us before. Right now, in this particular moment, and 5 minutes from now, doesn't anger need to serve me? No, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Absolutely.
Now, is there a point in time where I need to be angry? Yeah. Say, for example, if somebody's attacking my family, guarantee you there's going to be some anger. There's just those kind of situations and stuff that, there's a time and place for it, and there's a time and place not for it.
Absolutely. So let's move into something else. So for neuroencoding, specifically, so what are some what are some specific neuroencoding techniques when you're angry and you want to default back to your best self, for instance, um, effective in helping veterans and their families, but overcoming those things in the moment, if you will. Because obviously, if you're angry and you stay there, you're not making great decisions, or you're
Absolutely.
stressed, or any of those things. So let's talk about that just for a minute.
Absolutely. And yes, making that transition, from learning, NLP, EFT, core transformation, I mean, da 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 da, and learning neuroencoding through the Neuroencoding Institute, it's put on by Joseph McClendon III, and a great staff that, they have, and actually has been also been on, it's either been or will be on your podcast here shortly. Um, is that the basics, the foundation? Really, it really starts with the mind. Your thoughts becomes your reality. As you think, so you feel. As you feel, so you do. As you do, so you have. Right. I also like to add, as you have, you give. So as you give, you get to receive. You get to receive from others. You get to receive from, the universe, divine, God, or whatever belief systems that you have.
Yeah,
So
excellent.
really, so really the basics. So as you think, right? So you're thinking. So also it comes with your speech, what you say. So as you say onto yourself or onto others, it's really, you're programming yourself to believe it. So like, for example, I am courageous, I am strong, I am powerful. Those are things that are going to pump you up, right? Well, if you
Absolutely.
say, well, then the same thing on the other side. If I say I am fat, I'm stupid, I'm repulsive, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Kind of thing. Well, it's the same thing affects it happens here. So it's the basics.
And I just
And you
want to
just
add
go
really quick, Corey. And most of all the human thoughts are the negative ones until you work on it
absolutely.
and change it over to self-love and loving yourself and so on. So I just wanted to point that out. Pay attention to your thoughts because more of your thoughts are negative generally than they are positive. So just want to throw that in there. Please go ahead and continue, please.
Yeah, because absolutely, because we have a million billion year old brain, right? I mean, it started developing from the back, working, towards the forward, and having that primordial brain is that the brain likes to go to the negative first because that's likes to protect itself, like it keeps it,
Protect yourself.
it's the brain's self, because without the brain everything else dies, right? So by having those thoughts, either the negative ones or positive ones. Stand in front of a mirror in the morning when you wake up and do your morning routine, and say, "I am courageous. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I'm handsome. I'm strong. I'm sexy. Whatever. I'm magnificent. I'm powerful. Whatever it is for you, that's what you
Damn,
say."
Corey, how'd you know I say all those things in the morning?
Well, because I was your accountability partner and I trained you well. Flip that one back on you.
I totally did. I have a list on my
So
mirror. It's about that long. I'm just joking. Please continue.
right. No, and it's really good. And also what we say in conversations, like the but statements. Anything that you say beforehand, when you say like, "Honey, I love you, but could you have worked on the dishes?" Well, now she's going to be upset because she's thought, because now she's concentrating on the dishes and not the "I love you" part. And the same thing for men. If you have to flip it, do the negative first, like, "Hey, dishes aren't done, but babe, I love you so much. I admire you. Thank you for working so hard around the house and everything else." And then that focuses on that positive. It's whatever's after that but. And same thing with can'ts, don'ts. Change that but to an and, or "I get to" instead of "I need to" or "I have to." You know, that's like really the starting pouring of the foundation. And then help kind of just solidify this foundation, to have a really good, strong foundation to build the rest of your mental, structure up, right? Is what we like to call the stop technique. You have this negative thought, you actually literally say out loud, in practice, of course, because in public, if you yell "stop," who knows what's going to happen, right? I mean, cars might be screeching and kids be crying or whatever. Who knows? Be chaos, cats and dogs living together. Who knows? So you say stop. You practice at home and you have this negative thought, you say stop out loud. If you're sitting, you stand up, you shake your body out, you change your physiology. If you're standing, step forward, step to the left, step to the right. Avoid stepping backwards, because that's kind of like going in the past. Step into the future, step right, step left, whatever the case is. Shake your body out. Think of something positive that's really strong in memory, that nothing else can defeat that. And make a finger, point it at your chest and say, "I am magnificent." And then say yes, and then give yourself a celebration. And that will start the stopping process. It will take that CD or that record or that cassette or A track, depending how old our audience is here,
Oh,
you know,
Lord.
right?
You said
It's going to start. I know it's going to start scratching it, or it's going to start pulling out that feed, right? And what's going to do is going to scratch it enough to where that operating system can't, that crescendo, that negative thought can't play anymore. And then you're going to create a space like a scotoma, right? And you got to place it, in there was something. That's what the positive. Then you change your thoughts of like, okay, what can I concentrate on next? What can I do next? And by getting a coach or or seeking help with somebody, we get to train you and show you what exactly to put in that crescendo. And and usually what that is, it's going to be your outcomes, whatever that is specifically for you. Not the agenda that we have or anybody else. If they have an agenda for you, it's the wrong person. It's for you. It's whatever your outcome that you want. So like you have all these negative thoughts coming up that's stopping you from getting it, to the outcome that you're going to. Contact us. We'll help you out. We'll get that taken care of, and we'll get you to your outcomes for, get you further and faster in your life that you didn't think was even possible.
Very cool. And thanks for sharing the stop technique there. That's different than other, we're taught it. So like I myself have changed it and added to it, if you will. I see you did that too. So bravo, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, so what are some of the unique challenges veterans face when transitioning to civilian life, and how does your holistic approach address that?
Well, transitioning from one thing to another, it's, preparation is the key.
Mhm.
Knowing what you're going to be doing, ahead of time. And yes, even though even long-term veterans, that's been in the military for, 20 plus years, or have had a very intense career, in 6 to 8 years and 10 years. Excuse me for that. Will have, they know that they're getting out. They know when they're getting out. They know that the ceremonies are coming, or whatever the case is. They know the processing, the paperwork is coming. They know they have to do it. A lot of the times, there are some individuals that, have, an outcome, a goal in mind. They see it, they hear it, they feel it, they know what they're going to be doing. Then the majority are lost in a sense. They're kind of like, everything's kind of blurred after what's going to be when they get out, exactly what they're going to do, what they're going to do for work, what they're going to do for, housing, the list goes on, right? So preparation is the key, even though that, that there is, even when I was transitioning out, having that thought in the mind, it was still like, mud. It was, I had a similar vision, but didn't really feel it. It wasn't really clear. I just had just of an idea of what it would be like, instead of actually like digging deep and finding out exactly what it is.
Yeah, and that's more the norm, unfortunately. The military does a great job of conditioning you to go in and do what you need to do. And I'm not throwing shade on the military. I love you, I love you, but they're not conditioning for civilian life afterward. They need to find their purpose. This is what I'm finding. They need to have a purpose, because most military veterans now, they're not drafted. They're not going in because they don't have a choice. They're going in because they want to serve and they want to have a purpose. Right. Same thing coming out, but they need a purpose. They need their camaraderie, and they need a plan.
Right.
Those are the main three things. There's multiple other ones, but it's super important that you brought that up. Thank you.
Absolutely. And also, yeah, Grant, I mean, it's been a while since we've had the draft. There are, a few individuals that, they come into a crossroad. They can either, choose military, they can choose jail.
That is true.
So there is that kind of draft. And this is not to dog those individuals. Those are some of the ones that actually have fought the hardest in the trenches of going through either through combat or going through the military and stuff. And everybody that I've come across with the military, and the people that I've interacted with and deployed with have been stellar across the board. Of course you're going to have occasional where you're going to have a person you're not going to really see eye to eye with, and that's going to happen. And you're absolutely right about that transitioning. I mean, being able to come back from deployments, I mean, it's everything is so kind of ramrodded, if you will. The process of like, okay, here's these meetings, you got to go here, you got to get your signatures here, and you got to go get your signatures there, and you got to this and that, you got to get medical appointments and your shots and stuff. Oh, really? Action. And action.
Yeah, we hey, we're back. Ta-da! So
hopefully it was a good looking face instead of something like
that's never a good looking face when they freeze, man.
Right.
Never.
All right, so where lose you at?
Yeah, we're getting a little on time here, Corey. So thank you for sharing what we did get to go through. Can you share how people reach out to you if they want to reach out?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Wellform Solutions as well. You can also reach out to me through www.wellformsolutions.com. And I'm also on Instagram as WFS or Corry. So if you can reach out to me there.
Excellent. So also, we promised at the beginning of the show, the three tips to get veterans and their families further faster. So go.
All right. 3 tips. 1, be aware, what's going on internally. Right. And, it is okay to not be okay. It's okay to reach out. It's okay to say something. It's okay to say, hey, I need help with this. Even if it's out processing, even though it seems, it might be something that somebody else may like, oh, this is easy. It may be easy for them. Say, hey, I'm struggling with this because I have other things going on. Other tips is, go with a plan. in anything in life, just like even with the military and deploying, there's always a plan, right?
Right.
Even with missions, even with tasks, task force, there's always some sort of detailed planning. Have a detailed plan. If you're having troubles with that, reach out to somebody. Michael Cole, there's a lot of myself. There's a lot of people out there that can help you out with that. And also the third thing is communication. Communication is the result that it gets. So by communicating with your higher ups, communicating with your subordinates, communicate with your spouse and your family, do a check-in, not only, the families, when the service member deploys, the family deploys too as well. It's just, they're deployed on the home end. Their battles on the home front, your battles on the battlefield, right? So communication, is the one of the best things I can probably, give right now. And then again, reach out, because everybody's loved. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Corry. And you know what? That communication is such a big. You hold space for each other. Let each other know where you are. It's not a weakness to ask for help. It's the most courageous thing you really can do, and it changes the game. It truly, truly does. So thank you, man.
It does.
Awesome to have you on here, Corry. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it, man. All right, everybody. Corry Mathews, and we are out of here.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.